How would an arrest of Donald Trump actually play out? Security issues could affect any arrest and court appearance involving the former president. Let's dive into the details, shall we? The Manhattan grand jury hearing evidence about Donald Trump's role in a payment to a porn star appears to be wrapping up its work, indicating that prosecutors could soon ask jurors to vote on an indictment of the former president. The grand jury didn't meet Tuesday, but is set to meet again Wednesday. Mr. Trump, who has denied wrongdoing, has said the probe by the Office of Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, a Democrat, is politically motivated. Definitely. A grand jury indictment would kick off a process in which Mr. Trump would likely travel to Manhattan to face charges. Here is how it could play out. If the grand jury votes to indict Trump, what happens next? An indictment and an arrest warrant would be filed under seal with the court before becoming public. Prosecutors would notify Trump's lawyers of the sealed indictment and negotiate a time and date for his surrender. The indictment would remain sealed until after Trump was formally arrested and booked. We won't see a copy of that indictment or know definitely what the charges are until he is arraigned by a judge, said Karen Agnifilo, a former prosecutor in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. What happens if Trump surrenders? A defendant who is allowed to surrender typically reports at an agreed-upon date and time to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, which is attached to the Manhattan Criminal Courthouse. Detective investigators from the district attorney's office then arrest the defendant. This approach avoids the public spectacle of an arrest elsewhere and the perp walk that often comes with it. If he were to surrender and be arrested, Trump would likely have his fingerprints scanned, his photograph taken for a mugshot, and be interviewed by a detective investigators who would make an arrest report. And he would be issued a rap sheet reflecting his arrest like every other person who is arrested and fingerprinted in this country, said Miss Andifilo. After being processed, defendants are typically taken to a holding cell next to a courtroom to await arraignment. Mr. Trump would likely receive some special accommodations out of security concerns and skip any wait on his arraignment, Miss Andifilo said. Donald Mahalik, a retired senior Secret Service agent, said the Secret Service and its agents are obligated under federal law to protect the federal president in all settings, so they would be with him throughout the booking process and arraignment. The Secret Service would also likely turn the courthouse into a protective zone and bring Mr. Trump through a secure access point, said Mr. Mahalik, who served on the security details of former President George W. Bush and Barack Obama. My experience tells me working with the court, the U.S. Secret Service would want this to be a well-choreographed event, probably with as little fanfare as possible and probably done as quietly as possible, he said. Would Trump be handcuffed? That is what typically happens when a defendant surrenders. However, it is unclear if an exception would be made in Trump's case. Mr. Mahalik said that the Secret Service, court officials, and the district attorney's office would likely discuss ahead of the surrender whether Trump could be handcuffed. Ms. Indefilo and Mr. Mahalik said that they thought handcuffing would be unlikely. What would happen in court? During a court appearance, a judge would ask Mr. Trump to enter a plea to the charges in the indictment. Trump, as most defendants, would almost certainly plead not guilty. Yeah, definitely. Prosecutors and Trump's lawyers might also discuss scheduling matters and the process by which prosecutors would hand over evidence known as discovery to the defense. If charged with a low-level felony, Trump would likely be released on his own reconnaissance. It's kind of a hard word to say. He could be back in his Florida residence that same day. When would Mr. Trump go to trial? Cases in New York take months and often more than a year to go to trial. While the case is pending, lawyers would likely file legal briefs and argue over what evidence jurors would be allowed to hear. Trump's lawyers almost certainly would seek to have any case dismissed before trial on the grounds that the charges are ultimately and untimely and improper. They could also file motions asking the trial to be held outside Manhattan because of what Trump may perceive as jurors who might judge him unfairly by political reasons. Yeah, I agree with this completely. This is just a dog and pony show. Like, what are they doing? Like, the president, this is the reason why no former president can actually get locked up. People want people to get locked up like Joe Biden and Barack Obama. It's not going to happen. What are they going to build a whole prison just for them and the Secret Service agents? And then the Secret Service agents, what do they got to live in a prison? I don't know. I don't buy it. And all this stuff about it's just all just so dumb. Some hush money scandal. It's not even for anything serious. This is the best they can get him on. It's not going to work out. They'll probably end up doing it out of Manhattan, if anything. The charges will probably end up getting dropped. It's going to be called election interference or something. It's like, they're just doing this because they can. The people in Manhattan can do it. The prosecutor can do it. So he's like, hey, I'm going to try to do it. Ha ha ha, screw Trump. That's all that's happening here. It's not serious at all. They don't care about the crimes. They don't care about any of this. They just want to see Trump do the perp walk, as the people on Twitter say. But as his article points out, it probably won't even happen. It'll be really formal. It won't even matter. It'll all be done quietly. And then it'll just be dropped off before the election even happens. And even if it isn't, he's not going to get found guilty of any of this, especially if he goes out of Manhattan. No one's going to have him be guilty for this. What's the crime? Using election money to give Stormy Daniels money. Trump has enough money. He's a billionaire. He could pay out of pocket. And he didn't even pay it. His lawyer paid it. And then he paid him back in installments. Most likely not from election funds. This is just dumb. But this is just my opinion. What is your opinion on this matter? Please let me know in the comments below. Also, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for daily news updates, hit that notification bell, and share this video to help spread this news. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.